Hey everybody! Today's video is on a very serious subject because today I want to talk to you about wire fraud and why you need to be aware of it. In real estate transactions, wires happen frequently. If you're a buyer, you would wire the down payment in to the attorney who's closing the transaction for you. Lenders wire money to attorneys to close transactions. If you're a seller, the proceeds from the sale of your house might get wired into your account. If you're a seller and a buyer, one attorney who's closing the sale of a house might be wiring the proceeds from that sale to an attorney who's helping you buy another house. So wires happen often, and they can be for pretty large sums of money. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars. So the idea that that could get stolen is scary. And so it's something that we all take seriously. Real estate agents, lenders, attorneys, we are constantly doing updates, continuing education, webinars, seminars, everything we can to learn best practices, to thwart any attempts by these criminals who want to hack and be able to get the funds from a wire transfer. So one of the ways they will do that, these criminals, is that they will hack into an email and just watch the flow of information between a real estate agent, a buyer or a seller, an attorney, and a lender, so that they kind of know what's the timeline, who's doing what, and then they will sneak in and initiate an email that looks legitimate with wiring instructions to an account that's not yours and not involved with you. And so that's how they steal your money. Not only do they sometimes hijack an email, but they can also spoof an email, which means that they would create another email that's very, very similar to the legitimate one. But let's say they change an O in the email address to a 0 so that it looks very similar, and unless you're just paying super duper close attention, you might not even catch that. So one of the things that we all do here at Blue Access Realty is we have two-step verification so that our email is as secure as we know how to make it. You couldn't hack into our email unless you also had our cell phones and could get the authentication number. So I suggest that if you're able to also enable two-step verification for your personal email, it's a great idea. I mean, maybe you just want to do it while you're doing the real estate transaction, but it's a really good idea. So one of the things that happened to us, hit very, very close to home, is that we were involved in an attempt for somebody to do wire fraud. And my boss was representing a lady who was selling a house. She had asked him if he would go to the closing because she had to work, and would he pick up her check and just bring it back to the office, and she would stop by after work and pick up the check. So he had done that, and as soon as he got back to the office, there was an email from her that said, "Oh, I've changed my mind. I want you to wire the money." And he got a little bit, dubious about whether or not that was her, and sure enough, it wasn't. And so he was able to call her, and she said, "No, I didn't initiate that email." And it was a bad actor who was trying to get all of the money that was her money, wired to their account. And oftentimes when they are successful in getting money wired to an account like that, United States law enforcement often cannot recover that money. So it just breaks my heart to think that a big chunk of somebody's life savings or all the equity in their house could get stolen by a criminal. And so I just don't want that to happen. So when you start down the road of a real estate transaction, have a conversation with your real estate agent and make sure you know who the actors are who will be working for you. So make sure that you have the legitimate contact information for your attorney, including a landline, and your lender. Make sure you know how to contact them directly, and have it be a huge red flag to you if you ever get an email that says, oh, we're changing our wire instructions. Now you might get a legitimate email, the original one that says, here are the wiring instructions, here's where you need to send your down payment money. But if, a day or two later, you get another one that says, oh, we've changed, huge red flag. Attorneys will try to never do that in the middle of a transaction, and most of the time they keep their accounts for years, and they just don't change those trust accounts willy-nilly like that. But let's say you did get that email. The thing I want you to do is pick up the phone and call that trusted number, not the number that was included on the I'm changing the wiring instructions email. Don't trust that, but go back to a number that you had before that, or look it up, or call your real estate agent. Make sure you call a trusted number to confirm wiring instructions. Always, 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 always. I'm just trying to keep everybody from losing any money to criminals, and it really could be devastating, just huge amounts of money. So be very, very careful. Talk to your real estate agent. Make sure you understand what's happening when. If you're using the proceeds from the sale of a house to buy another house and attorneys are wiring from one to the other, just ask them, hey, what are your policies and procedures around wiring money? I want to know that you're taking steps to eliminate the possibility of wire fraud. It's a legitimate question. Don't be afraid to ask that question. Speaking for myself and my firm, we will never email our clients wiring instructions. We just stay out of it. So if you ever get anything from me, or really, I'm just going to blanket it to other agents. If you get an email from your real estate agent with wiring instructions, you should caution that. You should be questioning that, because typically the agent is not in the middle of that, and most attorneys are trying to cut out any intermediaries. No reason for one more person to have that wiring instructions. So just confirm it. Call the trusted number that you have and make sure that you're not getting ready to flush your money, because that would just be awful. Like one of the worst things I could think about happening to somebody in a real estate transaction. So I hope that was helpful. I hope I've given you some things to make you cautious about wiring money and accepting wires. If you're going to be the one receiving them from the proceeds of a sale, just don't hesitate to ask tons of questions. That's much better than losing your money. So stay tuned for the next video, and remember, knowledge is a good investment.